Hello, this is the Florida Aviation Network, and I'm your host, Walt Schammel. We're broadcasting live and in the clear, celebrating 40 years of Sun and Fun at the Lakeland Linder Airport in Lakeland, Florida, and we are currently located in the Florida Air Museum. Our guest today is the president of Sun and Fun, Lights Leenhouts. Lights, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having on, Walt. I really appreciate the opportunity to share our story.
I'm glad you were able to take a few minutes with all the other things you've got going on around here.
Well, it's been a pretty busy week so far, a superb week, and every day usually starts about 5:30 and 6 o'clock. We start the first round of interviews, and then we hit the street, and there's going from one event to the next. Today was no exception. This is actually, I guess we're here about 1:15. It's my first time to sit down since 6 o'clock this morning.
And I caught that. You said about 5:30 or 6, and you didn't say how long it runs, sometimes late into the night.
Yeah, the day usually ends up somewhere around 11 o'clock at night when they finally turn loose of the activities. And so I try to get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep. Not nearly enough, but it's better than none.
Probably more than you got on that carrier you were on.
Well, there were a lot of times out there on the ship that it was 3 and 4 hours just to make do to get going because there was so much activity. But you learn to live with it.
Lights, what did you fly in the Navy?
I was a A7 Corsair II pilot for approximately 4,000 hours from 1975 to 1991. We wrapped up Desert Storm. We were the last 2 A7 squadrons active in the world, for that matter, flying off aircraft carriers. The Hellenic Air Force flew them off the land. And then I went and transitioned over to the Hornet, and I flew the Hornet for the next about 2,000 hours, all the way to 2001 when I retired. In the midst of all that, because I was a landing signal officer, I had the good fortune of transitioning and learning to fly the F-14 Tomcat, so I got the chance to fly all 3 aircraft. And when I was flying the A7, I would fly the Tomcat during the day and the A7 at night. And I did that for about 7 or 8 years in the midst of all the A7, F4, F and A18 years. So it was a good run. About 6,000 hours in 28 years. It was a great ride.
And I believe you retired as a captain?
Yes, sir. I retired out of the Strike Fighter Wing Atlantic, where I was the Commodore. And I I was right at a little over 27 years and ended up with the rank of captain. It was a great experience. I highly, highly recommend anyone that wants to develop their personal skills, look at the military, whether it be the Army or the Navy, the Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard. All of them, all those services build character. They build people. And I can tell you that when I went in right out of college in 1974, 73 actually in my case, it was one of those times when I kind of thought I knew what I was doing, but I really didn't know. And the Navy at that time gave me the skills to move forward in life and be very proud of what part of the service I was participating in.
What about the ACE program?
Well, this is really cool. Everybody knows Sun and Fun as the big 40 years of flying airplanes in, expos, and everybody coming together for spring break for pilots. But what a lot of people don't know is that Sun and Fun is really a not-for-profit 501c3 organization that is here for education. And it's been hidden for so many years, so we decided that it was time to build back that image that we've always wanted to have, but we've never really put a face on it. You know, sometimes people talk about what kind of stuff they're doing, but they don't really put any image to it, something that we can all point at and go, oh, it's that. Well, ACE is that. And what does that stand for? That stands for the Aerospace Center for Excellence. Not of excellence. We're not saying we're the best, but it's for excellence. And why do we do that? We do that because this is a 7-building complex, an education corridor. We're sitting in one right now, and I'll explain that later, that is for any young man or woman to find those characteristics, those skills that resonate throughout aviation and become the best possible person they can be. Now, this building. I said, we'll talk about this building. Used to be called, it was titled the Florida Air Museum. Well, it still is, but now it's got a higher calling. It's the Aerospace Discovery at Florida Air Museum. Sure, we still have artifacts. We've got all the airplanes hanging up there. We've got real interesting memorabilia from early years of aviation, the story of aviation in Florida. We got the Howard Hughes private collection of items. But now, rather than walking through a silent, quiet, church-like environment with all these special relics, we are now a vibrant, hands-on, interactive, aviation-based learning center. So when somebody comes in here, and it doesn't matter if you're 5 or 50, you have a chance to interact and figure out, how did that radial engine actually work? Well, how does that wind tunnel? Can I put a wing in that wind tunnel and check the lift and drag? I always wondered how those pilots got that brief. Now you can go to a big screen and you can actually do a pilot weather brief. The speakers will carry over the weather briefer to everybody in the audience. And so we use this as a tool to get the interest raised, excite and inspire folks to think of aviation as a friendly career path, not one of those, oh, you got to go across the TSA fence line to get a shot at it, and it's way expensive. It's not. You can do it here. It's possible. And we show the skills that are required, how to work the radio, how engines work, how you become a pilot. Matter of fact, our program, as part of our Aerospace Center for Excellence, our ACE, we have a legitimate high school, Central Florida's Aerospace Academy. That academy currently has 325 students. We will grow to 500 in the next 2 years. All those students are immersed in the STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and math. But how do we really show that? How do we demonstrate STEM? We do it through aviation. Aviation is the tool, the venue by which we show how science is really learnable and get kids interested in it. Well, while they're in this school, here's a really neat thing. The way we've sculptured our 501c3, not-for-profit, is that we took the money that we generate from the schools being leased to the county so they can populate it with county teachers. We take that money, put it in a scholarship fund, and that money is used to let the deserving, and I say deserving, the worthy, the best students that want it, doesn't matter if they have any money or not, but those that show the aptitude and the interest to become private pilots for free. That's a $12,000 scholarship to a high school student to learn to fly. And we ask that they have a 2.75 grade point average or better. And we do ask that they give volunteer hours. They have to volunteer. And the reason for that is we want these students to be well-rounded, a total person, not just intellectual, not just entertaining, but a good citizen. You know, when we say on our moniker here, it now reads Sun and Fun, building a brighter future through aviation. Well, we're really building better citizens, because even though I might get that young man or woman a private pilot license, or in some cases, if they want to get an airframe and power plant mechanics license, they don't have to do that for the rest of their lives. It may be a hobby, but at the end of the day, the skills they learn in aviation are translatable to the world of industry, anywhere you go. The accountability, responsibility, persistence, and fortitude, being able to make decisions, looking at a problem, coming up with a solution, putting a plan, a flight plan together, following a flight plan, and ultimately the confidence from flying an airplane as a solo of knowing there's nothing you can't do if you want to. You know, I talk a lot of times at schools around the nation about everybody should build a flight plan for life. And you figure, well, what's a flight plan for life? What it is, it's sculpture a path forward, figure out the milestones, and just like we do a flight plan, have a divert. Have the idea in your mind that if it doesn't go the way you wanted, for whatever reason outside of your control, you've got an audible divert option that you can take another one and maybe, or circumnavigate the thunderstorm. You've got a trouble ahead, you've studied the weather route, and you know you can't get direct there. You can't get to your final destination in your life, but there's a way around it. Or maybe you stop for an intermediate stop, refuel, recalculate, and then press on. But you don't give up. Aviators don't give up. And that's the kind of people we're trying to create. Now I'm going to get on a little bit of a high horse here and give you my personal opinion about something. Our society has gotten to the point where they don't trust the youth. They think they're fragile little chickens, for a better word, and that they should be protected. And I'm of the opinion that's not the case. Protect them, sure. I mean, don't let them do stupid stuff, but they shouldn't be just husbanded around like little fledgling chickens. Our students at 16 years old are soloing airplanes and going cross country. Any student can do that. We trust them. We treat them like adults and they act like adults. Aviation does that. I also think that within our society, we've gotten to the point where we think everybody's a winner. And I'll tell you right now, that's not true. There are winners and there are losers. Everybody should strive to be a winner, but if you don't have a winner and everybody's on the same, then nobody tries hard to get ahead. Our philosophy at Central Florida Aerospace Academy is you try hard, we help winners, and everybody's striving to do that. We have 100% graduation. 100% of every student in that school that gets through their sophomore year graduates. We've been in business now for 6 years, going on our 7th, and that's something that no other school in the state of Florida can hang their hat on. That's a public school. Nobody pays to come here. So we're trying to build winners, and we're making a lot of them because we're inspiring people to do things way beyond what they thought was possible. So it's just this whole Aerospace Center for Excellence is incredible. This building, 2 more buildings just to the east of us, and to the west, we have an aerospace. Tom Davis, the guy who started Piedmont Airlines, he is invested in Sun and Fun. He put in money to build a Tom Davis Aerospace Education Center, an aerospace laboratory for Piedmont. Scott Crossfield has the Scott Crossfield Aerospace Classrooms. We have Emil Bueller, who was a very successful businessman in aviation. He has the Emil Bueller Aerospace Skills Center. This is the Aerospace Discovery. We have Central Florida Aerospace Academy. And guess what else we have? You're going to love this, Walt. How would you like to, at 16 years old, get into the cockpit of a 727, a Boeing 727, and start it up? Start up the APU, engine 1, engine 2, engine 3. Check all the systems, all the flight controls. Log in your navigational system. Check it all out. Call the tower, ask for clearance, and then shut it back down again. And have all your other student buddies watch you because the cameras are on you in the cockpit. We have that. It's a classroom. It's not a fake simulator. It's the real deal. It's right here at Central Florida Aerospace Academy. And our students, starting in 2000 and at the end of this year, 14 for the fall semester, will have the bell ring for second period in some cases, and they'll walk across the parking lot and their next class in a 727 jumbo jet. How inspiring is that?
I would have loved it at that age because I wanted to fly since I saw my first bird. And you brought up a good point. You talked about the Central Florida Aviation Academy, and it's that nice looking building across the street that everybody thinks is something different, something extremely special, which it is, we know about that, but it's also a certified high school, and it's free to get into it. All you have to do is be motivated.
It's a charter school, a workforce academy, so it's focused on a particular career area, and they're in the county of Polk. We have over 120 of them, which is pretty cool. They're not all aviation. Some are for veterinarians or legal or doctors or any number of professions. But this one's aviation, and it is free to the public. There's no charge to come into this. The students do wear uniforms. They get a choice between their khaki pants or shorts, and of course a shirt that matches in the blue color of the Aerospace Academy. The bottom line is, it's for everybody. And we just want those people out there and that are watching this, that come to Sun and Fun, realize that you don't have to be anything special. You just have to be motivated. You have to want to go move ahead. You don't want to sit back there and just live off welfare. You want to be somebody. And everybody should strive for that. That's why I go back to the philosophy that not everybody's a winner, but we're all trying. I'm not a winner, but I never gave up trying. All of us are striving to be a little bit better all the way along in our lives. And the minute I think that we're all equal, I quit. But knowing that there's a chance to step up one more level, we'll always continue to try to do that. And that's what these students are doing.
So the school is not just for pilots, but it's for a broad range.
Everybody.
When they complete high school, does the educational system assist them in going on into colleges or on into some other aviation career field?
What a great question, Walt. Were you my straight man? You must be my Ed to Johnny Carson. So the answer is yes, we do. Couple of ways. One, we have a $5,000 a year scholarship that we give to any student that meets the requirements to go to a college of their choice in aviation. And second of all, and probably most importantly, Sun and Fun has teamed their Aerospace Center for Excellence with Polk State College, and they do dual enrollment while in high school. So if a student is motivated, they can get a majority of their credits towards an associate's degree, or at least a year or two under their belt on their way to a bachelor's degree. And the really neat part about that, this was a coup for all of us. Polk State has such a robust, fabulous aviation program. They were certified by Embry-Riddle as one of their feeder colleges, so the college credits at Polk State are accepted directly, credit for credit, at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. What does that mean? Here, you're probably putting the pieces together. If you're a young man or a woman and you put yourself to task while in high school, you can leave Central Florida Aerospace Academy with an associate's degree in an aviation field recognized by Embry-Riddle, an A&P, an airframe and power plants mechanics license, and a private pilot license, all for the cost of $0. How much of a step ahead is that? But that's for the people that are high achievers, and that's who we're going after. People that are motivated. And Sun and Fun is here for all people. Don't get me wrong, we want them all to enjoy it. But the ones that are striving, we help them. We give a helping hand to anybody that's trying their level-headed best to move up the food chain and be a valuable asset to society and to America and to the world and the world of aviation. So we continue to help all the way through. And that $5,000 a year continues on through all 4 years.
You've talked a lot about the educational system, people donating their time and their resources to assisting here. But I know that Sun and Fun has a lot more going on than just this 1 week. What are some of the other things we're doing?
Well, we used to have the spring break for pilots, and that was pretty much it. We did have summer camps. We've expanded the summer camps, so every kid can fly summer camp. It's a destination aviation. We actually bring in 7 different classes, and those folks get to fly an airplane at the end of the day, which is absolutely great. So life is good with this. And we're having so much fun, we can hardly stand it. So are we still there?
Yes, keep going.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, the good news is that we do When Pigs Fly South, which is an aviation weekend for people to come to the world's largest sanctioned competition fly-in barbecue, Kansas City Barbecue Association. They're the ones that said, hey, they looked at us first year, they sanctioned second, so we have over 52, 55, going to 60 competitive barbecuers that people fly in and get the best barbecue in all of southeastern United States. We do a Veterans Weekend, a Warbird fly-in. We're doing right after Sun and Fun's over with, the following weekend, we're doing the largest ice cream social in the southeastern United States. We'll have over 40,000 people. And also, because aviators love cars, get this. We have just teamed up with Carlisle Events out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And every year we'll do 2 major car events where we will have over 1,500 car vendors on the site, and they will sell high-end collector cars, over 500 of them in a 4-day period. And they are known throughout the world as the #1 car aficionados putting on car events. And they're moving to Sun and Fun. And I tell you, it's an exciting time at Sun and Fun. And you mentioned about, donors and such. We have events that we put on, and then we have folks that support us. One of the folks I forgot to mention was we've got JetBlue. JetBlue just became an official, agreed upon contractual partner that is helping us already with buying tools for our A&P program. And now they just flew in for Sun and Fun 160 students from New York to attend Sun and Fun in an Airbus A320, brand spanking new, with the CEO and president, Dave Barger, just because we are promoting aviation. The industry knows they need help. we are making a difference. We're making a dent in the shortfall of aviation career field folks. So they teamed with us, which is a fabulous deal. And you know what? I know we're getting kind of close here, and I want to make sure there's one thing else we don't forget. For a long time, Sun and Fun was known throughout the country as a pilot's haven and a fun place to come, that's for sure. But we never really had much interest from our state and local folks. For the first time in the history of Sun and Fun's 40 years, we yesterday had a professional, authorized, sanctioned visit by Governor Rick Scott, who spent 2.5 hours walking on the campus, seeing all the folks that came, and as he walked through the crowd, he was very impressed. He was mostly awestruck, quite candidly. And one of the things he found that even I was surprised by, almost 25% of the people that he said hi to, he always asked, where are you from? 25% of them, or maybe a little more, were not from America. They were international guests. We'd always estimated about 10%, but it's really closer to 25%. End of the day, I looked him in the eye, shook his hand, said, thanks for coming. And I said, Governor, do you get it now? He goes, I got it, I'll be back. That's a huge statement for the governor to sanction Sun and Fun. And we're hoping that someday it'll be the official Florida Aviation Expo.
I know the state of Florida has been very involved in aviation for many years because I used to administer the state airport licensing program, and I've seen tremendous changes. We used to have 400 airports when I was doing that in 1975, and now we've got over 800. And it's just the beginning. Everything is growing.
Oh, yeah.
Watch this campus grow over the years. You mentioned JetBlue, but you didn't say exactly that they donated $25,000 to buy the additional tools.
Correct.
For the Academy.
Yes, sir. The relationship with JetBlue started out in a casual conversation, and the end result was we fell in love with each other. They were a great avenue because of JetBlue University, which is in Orlando, to be a retreat for our students to go see firsthand really what it was like to be in the airline industry, and not just as a pilot, as a mechanic, but the entire myriad of career opportunities in the airline industry, from controllers to baggage handlers to flight attendants to dispatchers and weather briefers, all of it very good. And then they ultimately wrote us a check for $25,000 and have promised long-term support for our Aerospace Center for Excellence, because we are aggressively trying to change the image of aviation.
Lights, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate all the work you've done for Sun and Fun, and I know that you've got a lot of plans coming up here in the future. And we're so glad you could join us to help celebrate the 40th year. And thank you for joining the Florida Aviation Network. My name is Walt Shamel, I'm your host, and I'll see you next time.